Hey guys, what is up? We're getting ready to go outside. It's very cold. I wanted to show you a couple things first. One thing in particular, which I think you guys are really gonna appreciate. So we had a really good Christmas. What do you think, guys? Did y'all have a good Christmas?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We got
Use my robe as a blanket because I'm cold.
Using your robe as a blanket. Sounds like a good plan. And y'all got those robes for Christmas?
Yes, they're so nice.
And we got bows.
Bows, that's
They
right.
were really cool.
Slingshots and a treehouse too.
So it wasn't a Shark Tank. It was a treehouse called the Shark Tank.
We know. We knew that the entire
We got a puzzle going here, which we still have some time to do. Somebody asked about my little puzzle board thing. This thing's super cool. So it has like a Lazy Susan underneath it, and then drawers that go in so you can sort the pieces out. And then it has like this plastic cover, which is actually slid under the ottoman, so you can put it on top and like move this to the table or whatever. So I got it on Amazon and just found it. You could probably build something like this, but I'll link the one that I got. So in this week in between Christmas and New Year, of course now we're contending with really cold weather, but this is actually when garden planning Jessica just comes alive. The very cold weather is kind of dampening that just a little bit, but I'm still, it's like by the end of Christmas Day, like I'm already starting to think about the garden. So I want to show you guys this. This is not garden related. This is the gift my sister-in-law gave me for Christmas. It is a t-shirt quilt made out of our t-shirts from our merch. And like some of these on here, like that is our very first ever merch shirt. We did a very limited run, like a one-time limited run of this. It says grow something lovely, and essentially lost money on them because we were going with somebody who was just screen printing in her basement and just had to charge us a certain amount, and it took a lot of time, so we didn't do a lot of those. This one's pretty cool here, like the original squad goals. That's from 2019. We released those and sold them at the Shindig. There was another one. Oh, this one. This is also another one of the very early ones. My brother drew this, our goat Miriam and the flower crown. But pretty dang cool t-shirt quilt with our old shirt.
It's like a memory blanket because
it's like a memory blanket. That's true.
this and that's Bear.
Yeah, that's Bear's a pup kitten George. Yeah. Some of my favorite ones on here. Oh, there. Look at that. Y'all remember that? Were you here for that? Pretty cool. I love it. This was a really special gift to me. I thought this was cute. I saw this morning. Malia made Christmas cookies. I guess this royal icing had corn syrup in it that she made. And Jackson's allergic to corn, so she made him some with a different icing, and that's sweet. Outside, it's actually warmer today than it has been, but it's still freezing cold. Here's my Christmas presents. From Maya and the boys. They got me this beautiful bird bath that has herons on it, like what come on our pond. They know I really like those. They got me this bald eagle statue because we have a bald eagle that comes around here some, and I just think he's the coolest thing. And then of course Ben had to pick that out for me. His favorite. So we fared the unusually cold weather here in South Carolina with minimal damage. Nothing died, so that's good. We did have a pipe burst in the barn, so on Christmas Eve the hot water line in the wall of the milk room had frozen and burst. It got so cold that even with pipes dripping it just wasn't enough. We had to put a heater in the well house because that froze up real quickly the first cold night. That was inconvenient. And then our frost-free hydrants, some of those did not make it out. Even though they're frost-free, they still, the metal cracked. So that's been not great, but everything made it through living, so that's good. I mean, obviously it would just be devastating to have had that kind of loss. It's not great that things broke, but things can be replaced. Hey Wes.
Hey Jess.
How's it going?
It's going.
Nice. Is Maya up there?
No, he went out to the, I think he's...
Oh, he's in the barn. I see him coming out. So there's the Shark Tank. So the Shark Tank is, of course, a tree fort. The kids know this now, that Christmas is over. And they got their present that they opened, showed a picture of the slide and the zip line and the sign that says the Shark Tank that'll go over the door. Obviously it's not finished because of the weather. They were still very excited. It's been too cold for them to play on it anyway, and the guys are still working on it. Jeremiah walked out to the barn to take the milk out of the freezer. We walked out this weekend and opened the freezer in the barn that we keep the milk in, and it felt so significantly warmer. Oh, that's neat. Look, there's the heron flying over. I don't know where he's going. Hey, Fernie girl. Hey. You're looking good, Mama. Her winter coat is so dark red.
Yeah.
She's so pretty.
Yeah.
Look how dark her neck and stuff is getting.
Yeah, my face is...
She's got a lot of black in it. She's so pretty. Here's Freya and Delmar. They're looking extra fluffy to manage the cold. He did just fine. He was the one I was probably the most concerned about, but for no reason. He was fine. We did open the barn where they could get into a stall, and they hung out in there a little bit when it was really cold. I feel like she looks bigger than any of our other cows have been pregnant, and she's still got 2 months until she's due.
Yeah.
But she's also petite, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. Wes says he feels like she's kind of big.
I mean, I guess twins is possible. I'd rather, I don't know what I'd rather. I just want her to be safe.
Healthy.
Healthy.
You want to see something kind of a pain in the butt, but kind of cool?
Yes.
All right, coming this way.
So is it not as bad as you thought?
No, this one's pretty bad.
Oh. Oh.
This is a frost-free hydrant that had no water in it. The hose was disconnected, so there was no water in this whole thing. But it just got so cold, I guess the weld on it.
You think that's cool? I mean, I guess literally it was cool.
No, that makes me like,
The way the water's shooting out.
yeah, like cracked on the seam.
Oh.
It's kind of a pain in the butt because I got to replace it.
Yeah. Well, at least it still functions.
Minimal fixes, so.
Yeah. Well, the barn was pretty big, but you managed it.
I felt like that wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
I didn't have to dig in the ground.
that's true. And it didn't make it like a ceiling cave in or anything,
No.
which is good.
Honestly, the pipes being frozen is why.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't until I defrosted the part that got froze, then the water started pouring out, but I was there, so I turned it off.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. Also, thinking ahead and putting a shut-off valve right there in the milk room. If I had to run all the way back to the well house, it would have been a lot worse. Congratulations, we made it through the winter storm that was never supposed to come. For all you South Carolinian people who lied to me. We don't get winters like that.
Well, I guess now we do.
We did.
Hey, little brother. What you doing?
I tested out my scout.
You're testing out your bow?
Yeah, the thing on it. But I shot with it, and then the arrow went. I aimed here, but the arrow went over here, and now I can't find the arrow.
Let's look around and see if we can find it. Well, you're getting pretty good with that thing.
Yeah, I know that. Or we can shoot that way,
Yeah, you could shoot that way.
and it will be.
Or you could stand over here and shoot the side. All right, we're enlisting Dad's help. I think we're gonna paint these arrows orange because we've spent a lot of time looking for lost arrows. So I really wanted to get video of this before it melted. And it's like the middle of the day now and just starting to climb up above freezing. But the big pond was completely iced over yesterday morning. Thin, but frozen, which is very unusual for South Carolina. And the little pond, which is significantly more shallow, froze much thicker. And it's starting to thaw out, but still pretty cool. The kids came out here yesterday. We're watching the ducks walk out on the water. You can see sticks all out on the water because the kids were throwing them out there. They thought it was pretty cool. It's a pretty novel thing for us here in the South. We don't see frozen over ponds very much. I've only ever seen ponds freeze over in the South like a couple of times. Our neighbors had a pond in Arkansas, and one time it got cold enough for long enough for it to actually freeze enough that a duck could walk on it. Now, I don't know that it will ever freeze enough for like a person to safely walk on it. Like, this is not that solid. My kids came out in their boots and like stepped around the edges. But you can kind of see some of the spots where their feet went through. And they knew better, obviously, than to go out deep. Yeah. Pretty cool. Northern people probably don't understand our amusement at things like this, but you just have to, I mean, never. Like, this never happened. It took 3 days of very cold nights. And hardly getting above freezing for it to ice over at all, and then a couple other days of very cold nights with it slightly above freezing for it to get this cold. It's pretty cool. Pretty tickled by it. But I'm also ready for it to like move on out of here and let's start gardening. I've had enough. This is good. Northern people need to come take your weather back. It's in my yard. So I'm going to show you guys how the high tunnels fared. Here is the tunnel. This one doesn't have just a whole lot in it, but you know, we moved the green stalks in here to kind of try to protect the peas and the lettuces, which they were protected, which is good. They're a little bit wilty, like some of them. You can see they have some damage, but I think they'll pull through. Definitely more damage on these roots up towards the front. Here in the back, they seem mostly fine. Killed the wheat back. And then back here, there's a bunch of strawberry plants, and they're all fine, but they can handle a lot colder temperatures. And then here, artichokes are damaged, but they'll come back. Like the citrus, some of it shows a pretty good bit of damage, but I think what will happen is those leaves will fall off, and they'll come back. Again, the green stalks in here are about the same. The young brassicas in here look really good, which is very nice. That's a big relief, which means that we'll have a harvest later from these. Now here's the stuff that we came out and harvested right as the storm started, and honestly the Brussels we left out here still look pretty okay, so I think they'll actually still produce just fine. But we ended up having all of these, which was good. So this kumquat, this is unfortunate. I should have just picked these fruits off, but they were a little underripe. But, like, I don't know if you can see, but they're, like, really springy. I'm wondering. They still taste fine. The texture's weird. I'll still eat them. So next week it's going to be 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. And this week the pond is frozen over, so that's fun. As I said, the Christmas gifts are hardly unwrapped before this switch goes off in my brain and I just start thinking about the garden. So I'll tell you what to do if you're in that place, and I know you are because I can see on my analytics what videos are being viewed, and every year, the day after Christmas, all the seed haul videos, all of the garden planning videos, garden tours, all of that stuff, just like skyrocketing in views. And I mean, there will be videos from like 2-3 years ago of like seed hauls and varieties and favorite things to plant, because all you guys are planning your gardens and you're coming in YouTube and you're searching out these things. And I'll start getting comments on these old videos because I know you're like me, and the switch flips. Christmas is over, the holidays are over. You're going into like the dreary gray January, February into March, and people plan their gardens and get through it that way, and I am very much the same. So one thing you can do right now, if you're very new to this, look up your last frost date, your estimated last frost date, which you'll type in like your zip code or the closest city or whatever, and you'll get that date, and you're going to want to mark that down. And if you're starting seeds, you're going to want to count back from that. For many things, you start the seeds about 6 weeks before that last frost date. If you start them too early, and I'm talking to you right now because I know some of you, your last frost is not for 4 months, and you want to get your seed starting stuff out right now around January 1st, don't do it. You're going to end up with gallon-sized pots of tomatoes, especially if we continue to have these unusually cool winters where they end up having a later frost. Don't do it. Don't start them 4 months early, because then you're going to be stressing out come March, not knowing where to put your stuff because you won't have enough space. Just wait. You typically want to do 6 weeks. You can do 8 to 10 weeks on things that take a little longer to germinate, like some herbs. You can do that. Eggplants and peppers, that's a good thing to give a little extra time so they can get a little more established. They won't get massive. But your tomatoes, especially things like squashes and cucumbers, do not start those this early. But if you have an indoor place like a grow light, a heat lamp, somewhere where you can provide ample heat and light, what the seedlings need, you can, in a lot of places, get ready to start a spring wave of brassicas or things that can handle a frost. I'll actually do that in the greenhouse soon. Oh, well, it's looking pretty slim and sad over here. The tops of all the brassicas in these beds died back. But a lot of them were collards. I think they'll come back. If you had brassicas and the tops died back, don't pull them out yet. Just wait and see what they do. Because like kale and collards and a lot of lettuces, if the roots are still there, they'll grow. And you'll still get to harvest them later. They were heading things and like it had started making like a head of broccoli or cabbage and those got damaged. I still wouldn't pull them out, but you know. You might have to lower your expectations a little bit. Tops of onions died back. In fact, a lot of the stuff here is fairly damaged, but we're just gonna wait and see. We mulched, we did what we could, but this was just unusual weather. All right, it's nice and warm in here. I'm not gonna be able to stay in here very long as bundled up as I am. So the next like project on the farm is going to be the shelving in here, which I had it on the list for a little while, but there's really no pressing reason to do that. I guess maybe I could have put some potted citrus in here and it probably would have fared a little bit better than down in the high tunnel, but we'll just see. We'll see how it goes and what comes back from all of that. I think you'd be surprised. When we had like a really, really cold winter in Arkansas, I was pretty devastated when I walked out the next morning at what had apparently died. But very, very few things had actually died. They had just died back. And in the spring, they came back with a vengeance. So I'm not terribly upset about anything that I'm saying. I would have liked to harvest more of these brassicas earlier, but I think we're still going to get some harvest, which is good. And now Maya's finishing up all those details on the kids' Shark Tank treehouse. And then he'll move on out here. And this won't take him very long, just doing the shelves in here and the potting table in the middle. I have this beautiful mosaic glass tabletop a friend of mine made me years ago that I've been hanging on to for like the perfect space. And I wanted it to be kind of the centerpiece of this greenhouse. It'll be the potting table. It actually inspired all of the glass out here. And yeah, I'm really excited for this. So my goal will probably be that we're starting seeds out here like early February. And I'm just gonna do like my pepper and eggplant seeds first. This is very tightly built, and so I can heat this. Now, it maintains a lot of heat just on its own because of the black and because of it being so tightly built and all of the glass. Right now it actually still has the shade cloth on it that we put on in the summer to make it bearable to be in here. And of course, once we start seedlings in here, we'll take that off to maintain as much heat as possible. But I wouldn't be surprised that even in the winter, when it's pretty cold outside with the shade cloth off, that the ventilation is going to have to kick on to keep it from being too hot in here. But yeah, we'll be in here starting seeds soon. And now, in planning time, though we're itching to get started, what we're going to do instead of prematurely starting our seeds is we're going to dream. We're going to pore over seed catalogs and seed haul videos, and we're going to plan the varieties that we're gonna grow. And this is a really good time because we turn our waiting room into a classroom, and we never stop doing that. I'm in a waiting room right now. I'm waiting to be able to move forward with the next garden season. And so it's time to learn things. And for us, like one of the things that I've been researching and learning about is smoking meat. So that's something that I really want to learn this year. We want to build a smokehouse. I've been reading about sheep and some different things I'd like to kind of grow in knowledge in, as well as making that garden plan and nailing down the varieties I want to grow and kind of outlining when things need to be started to be moved out in the appropriate time. So there are things to do to plan, but don't get ahead of yourself. Anyway, I hope you guys fared well through the cold. You were in our thoughts as we went through this, you know, crazy Arctic snap. I know it was a lot worse for a lot of people. And thankfully for us, though there was some minor damage, it wasn't major. And I hope you've had a wonderful holiday season. Tomorrow we celebrate Sweet Maya's birthday and then into the new year. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I bless you. Until next time.